Welcome to another episode of It's Debatable NFL edition. I'm your host, Justin Jones, here with co-host Sev. We back doing a live video. No, it's been a little bit of time, maybe close to a week since we did a live video. Just real life happens and people gotta handle some business. But we back trying to get back on the regular schedule because the sports world does not stop. A lot of NFL games yesterday. Good old NFL Sunday. A lot of interesting matchups. You had some overtime games. You had the first career start for this rookie QB. Just a lot of interesting action. But we are going to start with that QB who got his first rookie start, Shador Sanders, after last week being thrown into the fire after the Dylan Gabriel injury, and there was a lot of weird vibes around that. It came out after the game that he never really was getting reps in practice and was kind of just thrown into the fire. Was it kind of looked like a setup. Finally gets his first start today. Let alone it was against the Raiders. He still gets the job done. The Browns win 24-10, led by Shador Sanders, 200 plus yards, one throwing touchdown. Just looked good enough out there to secure that starting job there over in Cleveland. But what grade are you giving Shador for his first start?
We giving Shedur a B plus. I liked what I seen from the kid out there. I think that he was very poised in his approach into the game, though. From the beginning of the game where he had a couple of good reads, and then he had that long dot. I think it was like what a 40 or 50 ball, and you could just tell that he's very confident in just in throwing the football. When I watched Dylan Gabriel for the most part of the season, it looked like he was trying not to fuck up. I've seen a lot of times where he's not willing to throw a deep ball or just willing to get the ball out there. He'll do the. I feel like he was more of a safe quarterback, like try to get first down, try to get that. When I look at Shador, you look at he's a risk take out there. Like if he sees an opening for a player, he's gonna try to get the ball. And I've seen a lot of plays to where he'll go for that type of stuff. And he'll go for a little bit of a check down. I definitely seen that in one possession where when he threw a pick that he had the right intent in mind though. Just it was just a bad read. I think a lot of that is going to happen with Shador. I feel like it's still a learning curve for him though. But you could tell the confidence is there. He was waiting for this moment. Like his song would say, "A perfect timing," and that's literally what it was for him. The only thing I would say is that I do wish he could use his feet a little bit more. I'm saying? Like, just, if we could get a little bit of yardage from you, just running the ball just to secure a first down, you're going to need a little bit of that, though. But I think that comes with the territory as he gets better, as he goes along, though. But, you can't take the moment away from him, though. I know a lot of people be saying they'll beat it against the Raiders. Bro, this is a QB that was drafted in the fifth round. Like, there's not there really shouldn't be no expectation for him too. But it comes to territory like Deion Sanders' son. Just like how we say it comes with territory with Bronny James when he gets in the game or when he plays, there's gonna be critique for him though. It comes to that territory when your father was a legend. But for him to just, silence the noise, come in with that confidence, even in the post games and saying that, I'm the one that they've been looking for. Like you would tell he was feeding for the moment and he stepped up and showed why. And the credits to just everybody on the team too. Qshawn Judkins, who I believe can make a statement for offensive rookie of the year too. Somebody that just been getting better gradually as the season goes along. I'm looking at guys like Jerry Judy who needs to step up a little bit more. There's no way you fumble the ball. Look like you had no care in the world for that. Shador could have had a little more stats if you had actually ran the ball instead of jogging it and fumbling the ball, which made no sense. Um, Hero Fannin looked all right too. A couple of guys looked all right too. Dylan Sampson, somebody that can probably, if Keon Junkins is hurt for the next couple of games, somebody that can makes a little bit of noise though. I seen a little bit of breakout for him too as well. You have an all right core in Cleveland. You definitely got to keep building, but you have a decision to make between Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders, and I think the answer is right in front of everybody right there. There's somebody that just sparked the hype. Now people are going to be interested to watch these Cleveland Browns game. Now everybody's going to be tuned in. I guarantee you, Shador's debut was one of the most watched games on that NFL slate that weekend.
Yeah, this is a lot to unpack here. First, congratulations to Shador Sanders for being ready for that moment and going out there and doing the best he can just under the circumstances. I noticed something he said, I believe post game was something towards the sorts of imagine if I had a full training camp. I guess going back to the point alluding to that, he's probably up till him having to prepare for this game that just happened yet yesterday. He probably wasn't getting the proper reps, and just not being able to play with those starters in practices and things of that nature. Now you're gonna have to do that. It already came out that he will be also starting next week against the 49ers, which is going to be a tougher test. In terms of the grade I give him for yesterday, I'm gonna give him an A, but it was an easy test. Like I can't give him any worse than that because for the most part he checked off all the boxes. I get both sides of it. Now I'm not gonna side with the haters or the Glazers, right? I'm just gonna be right down the middle. This was against the Raiders. Um the Raiders are not good. So if you have any type of skill, you had a high percent chance to win that game. Um, he's going to once again have a much tougher test next week against the 49ers in that defense. So Shador is going to have to he's going to have to perform. He's not off the hook right now because there's still a lot of people against him. That one against the Raiders did not secure his job in the NFL. It got him to another week, and he's gonna have to perform well there because now they're gonna look for him to fail. And each team, once again, is not the Raiders. The NFL is tough, and he's gonna really have to show that he can last, not just have one good game against a subpar team. He really needs to show I'm that dude, and y'all shouldn't even have drafted Dylan Gabriel. Now, in terms of that kid, Gabriel. I don't like to joke too much when it comes to trying to give a serious take, but I seen in the comments where it said, Dylan Gabriel, you better start learning Chinese." That I would might give him that same advice because just in this one game from Shador, it's already been better than anything Mr. Gabriel has given you. That pass that you brought up to where he threw it for 40 or 50 yards on the run, just showing that arm. That play right there was better than anything I've seen from Dylan Gabriel. And that's not saying Dylan Gabriel is complete trash, but I don't think he's a starting QB in this NFL. He gives me more QB2 vibes, but just starting, it just doesn't make sense. It was good to see, Deion Sanders up there just watching his son. It felt good because anytime he did have success in the game yesterday, it made me feel good because when you have all the odds against you like that, there can be a lot of pressure, and a lot of people don't perform. And he definitely was up there, to your point, poised. He trusted in his teammates, and they was able to get the job done. Overall, just decent performance. I want to see how he continues to progress each and every week. Um, but he still has a lot of work to do. One good game is just not gonna get it done. But overall, once again, I gave him an A. A. Shout out to Shador Sanders. Oh, and then even to that point that you kind of just reminded me of by doing that, this brings life to the fan base, right? I see when he's making those great passes, has that touchdown. I see the young kids in the stands throwing up the fist and just doing all that, and it just brings good vibes. So
What they're doing.
forget on the field. What he does off the field, him as a brand, just him as the entity of that Sanders last name, it was just great for the organization. It was also good to see Deshaun Watson on the sideline trying to coach him up and trying to give his game. I hope the game on the field and not off the field. But it was just great vibes, right? Once we seen that pass thrown, we seen Miles Garrett. him turn around like, oh shit, like because he just hasn't seen that. Because once again, Dylan Gabriel was not doing that, and Joe Flacco for those few games that he was there, he's just not, the Flacco of old. So once again, I'm giving him a shout out to Shador, and it was just a great vibe to watch, and I'm pretty sure just a great vibe over there in Cleveland.
Win with us or watch us win the Shedur.
All right. Moving on to another crucial game that we had against one team that's sort of been a powerhouse so far this season, and a team that usually is the top echelon of the NFL, but due to injuries and a lot of other reasons, has had an up and down season. We had the Indianapolis Colts going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Great game. Came down to the wire. Mahomes doing the magical things that he does in the fourth quarter. Subpar game from Jonathan Taylor, something we're not really used to seeing. Probably only seen it one other game this season. Did the Chiefs just save their season with their win yesterday against the Colts?
Um, yes, but the season is still brewing, and I think that they have to execute at a high rate for the rest of the season to secure the postseason. I think every game right now is a must win for them too. You don't want to find yourself just missing out, being a game short or anything of that nature too. So the Chiefs have to play falls football. They're gonna have to go back to playing championship football that they know how to play at a high level, and that's exactly what you've seen yesterday from them. Especially like a guy like Patrick Mahomes. I feel like he known that he's been subpar throughout this whole season and that he could definitely do better. And then I feel like better came yesterday. He was doing just Patrick Mahomes things too, running when he needs to run the ball, targeting his receivers. Xavier Worthy had a hell of a game. Shedur Rice had a hell of a game too as well. You just got to trust in your receivers. Kareem Hunt. Shout out to Kareem Hunt, somebody that just turned back the clock. Somebody that's been a running back too for most of the year though, but with the injury of Isaiah Pacheco, he's definitely stepped up and giving these Chiefs live in a run game. I believe he ran for 105 yards yesterday and had a touchdown. So shout out to him as well. Um, I'm looking at a lot. What else am I missing? Travis Kelsey too, somebody who's been gradually getting better. Somebody who has been reassurance from Patrick Mahomes that listen, like me and you have this connection to where it don't matter when this is late in the game, early in the game, I'm gonna be there. If we need a crucial, vital first down, if we need a crucial catch, a little check down, anything of that nature too. So all those things come into play for this Chiefs team, and I would say they did save their season, but it's far from done with them. Like you still got ways to go before you can secure yourself in the most. I believe I seen the poster that said they would have to go 7-1 to fully secure their spot in the postseason. And it's going to be a tough task. But I think that this team probably had to look at themselves in the mirror after that loss against the Broncos and really just say, "Yo, we're way better than this." This is not Chiefs football. This is not what we used to be playing for these past couple of years, though. Something has changed, though, but it's on us to really get it going. And it starts with Patrick Mahomes, and it's go time. And then you've seen in that game too where they could have been down and out. They forced the issue for overtime. Wasn't a pretty win by all means, though, but a win is a win at the end of the day, though. So shout out to the Chiefs.
Yeah, I definitely do. I definitely think they did save their season. I think if they had lost yesterday, it was just gonna look real grimace just for their hopes of just trying to make the playoffs. And for the most part of the game, it was looking like the coaches just had it. It was looking like their offense was just flowing for the most part throughout those first three quarters. And it seemed like the Chiefs just really couldn't get it going. And then once again, the one player, if I could take any QB and I need him to win me that fourth quarter and win me the game, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes because he's been there, done that. He's poised. He knows who to give the ball to. He knows who to give the ball to in the right moments. And him and Andy Reid is just on that same page. He's the extension of the coach on the field, and he just knew what to do. Shout out to Kareem Hunt who came up big and just made a whole bunch of big plays. Travis Kelsey, right? It was looking like he had a touchdown until they, reversed that call and ended up not being a touchdown. He came to play, and everyone you already brought up Rice. You already brought up Xavier Word. We already know all the weapons that they have for Mahomes to utilize, and they all came up big in that fourth quarter. It was just as the time was ticking, I'm really thinking, damn, are the Chiefs really about to lose this game and miss the playoffs? And somehow they just got the job done. It was crazy. The spread to start the game was that minus 2.5 in favor of the Chiefs. And I thought it was a little strange, just really based off how each team's seasons have went. But look, once it's all said and done and they got into overtime, they was able to cover and they just got a huge win. Now, to your point, they're gonna have to keep winning. They can't just win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. They're gonna have to go on a bit of a streak. The next game will be this Thursday against the Dallas Cowboys. Um, that Thanksgiving game, that's probably gonna be the most watched game, probably arguably of the season. Right? You got two teams who are really trying to just fight for their playoff lives, and it's gonna come down to who just wants it more. But in terms of yesterday, if I'm giving any team MVP of the day, I'm giving that to the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm giving any QB the MVP of Sunday. I gotta say Patrick Mahomes. He got the job done. On the other side, I also give credit to that Kansas City defense because Jonathan Taylor did look like a shell of himself. I believe had no touchdowns on the day, which probably fucked up a lot of people's tickets, right? We also know for those people who have him for fantasy, they were probably throwing remotes at their televisions. But they gotta, figure out what kind of team are they when they go up against these powerhouse teams. These are when you're supposed to have these performances that show you're not on our level and we're a team that have to be taken serious. Think that was a game they should have got that done, and they just weren't able to. So they gotta kind of take a look in the mirror also and see how can we not have something like this happen again, right? It can't just be whenever Jonathan Taylor don't score, y'all don't win, right? Y'all gonna have to find other ways to win because that's what a lot of teams are gonna try to game plan for, right? Once y'all get, if and when y'all get into the playoffs, right? If we can take Jonathan Taylor out of the game, we can beat this team. So they're definitely gonna have to figure that out.
True, true. I do agree to that point. Um, my thing is that this with the Colts, and it's to the point that we've been making. If Jonathan Taylor don't perform, then they don't win. The truth to that is the verdict is no, the verdict's not even out there still. It's really just a full hearted point that if he doesn't have a good game, he doesn't perform, and that their team don't perform. And this is a game now. I believe this is their third game they lost.
Right, the third loss of the season.
Third loss of the season, and all those games, them margins was literally by a touchdown. So they lost to the Rams, I believe that one first loss they lost by a touchdown. So it was like 20-7, 27. They lost to the Steelers by a touchdown, and then they lost by a field goal. And all these games, Jonathan Taylor didn't have the best game too. So it was just like, how can we resolve that? Because we're in it, but we just don't have the offensive power without Jonathan Taylor though. So it's reluctant on guys like Michael Pittman, who had a game. He had a game. Alec Pierce needs to step up a little bit more, even if we need to find some type of versatility in our offense to where it doesn't result us needing that. Tyler Warren is somebody who started off hot to begin the season for a rookie. He slowed down a bit too. They're gonna need more out of him if they want to be successful. I'm looking at guys like what's am I missing? Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones might just have to be a little bit better, might have to be selfish and hit the feet a little too to just versatile the offense though. But that's just from my speaking though. I'm pretty sure the Colts are gonna just bounce back. This is a team that hasn't been down and out for too much, but they lost the teams they lost to teams that are very formidable opponents in their own respective ways though. So I'm not gonna bank too much on that though. Having a hell of a season still though, but that next step is gonna come on how do we win games without our running back being special. That's just the only question that they're gonna really have to ask themselves moving forward with the season, though, because it's the third game of the season too, where Jonathan Taylor didn't have a good game and they lost because of it.
Yep, yep. They're gonna have to figure that out as we get closer to the playoffs. Eagles, Cowboys. Eagles up 21-0, and it was all said and done after that. Cowboys find a way to win, right? Walk off field goal. Cowboys fans going crazy. All the Eagles fans are in shambles. What was yesterday's game more about the Eagles' struggles or the resiliency of the Cowboys?
I think it was more about the resiliency of the Cowboys too, because usually when you get to that 20 21-0, it's usually time to throw in a towel, pass the sticks, all types of shit though. But they didn't give up. Looking at it from where they started and how the game ended, they played relentless throughout the whole game. Shout out to Dak Prescott, somebody who was just pushing the motor, pushing the engine. They could had a lot of costly turnovers in the first half too, so it's looking like it was about to be a smoke. I'm looking at guys like George Pickens, who's really that wide receiver core between him and CD. He might be wide receiver one because the amount of times I've seen CD Lamb drop a pass, really, he's just been dropping passes throughout the whole season. I don't know what's going on with CD Lamb. I don't know if he has butterfingers now. But George Pickens, man, he's been something special for this Cowboys team, man. And just the energy that he brings, that young, that YN energy that he brings, is definitely, I think, just rubbing off on guys like Dak Prescott and the whole team. Because I'm looking at it, he goes after it. He goes after it. When I see him running his routes, he runs his route with a purpose. If he's going to catch the ball, he's going to make sure he secures that shit. I'm looking at guys like Javante Williams, somebody who's been a star for them in a running back position. Very much so has been a consensus. I guess a top running back for the NFL this season. And I'm looking at other guys too. Jake Ferguson, you can never count him out. Somebody who gave him a lot of good yardages, even though he didn't score a lot of good yardages for them, especially just when you're trying to tackle a tight end like that and he still, pick up another 1 2 yards, you know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at stuff like that too. Dak Prescott even ran it in for a touchdown his damn self. So I'm looking at all of that and I'm just impressed how they stuck with it. It could have just been another toss off like, oh, here goes the Cowboys again losing. But they stuck with it though. So, mad respect to them. On the Eagle side of thing though, they just fell apart though. I just think that, it's gonna happen in the regular season. I don't think, you should really just frown upon it too much though, because it's like, what I'm saying, it's one game. You toss it up in the book. You started off hot offensively. You just cool down. It's a tale of two halves. I think that happens a lot in sports. You can start off hot in the first half, and then next, you can't even buy nothing in the second half though. So I'm not going, say, oh, the Eagles meltdown. Oh, you should be panicking though. They're still one of the better teams in the NFL though, sitting at a record of what 7-3 now.
Right.
Still sitting at a record at 7-3 though. Still the defending champs though. There's just one of the games that you just learn from, and then you just got to move from it. But I give this more on this the Cowboy sides of things, just off the strength of just how they was resilient throughout the whole night.
I disagree. Shout out to Cowboys for them figuring out a way to win. But it's like that's like if you at the bar, Sam, and the girl's giving you all these kind of hints on how she want the night to go. It's like it's right in your hands, right? The Eagles was winning for the majority of the game. In that fourth quarter, if you seen the type of turnovers that they had, you was just literally giving the Cowboys perfect field position for them to complete this comeback. Because we never really said on this show that the problem is the Cowboys offense. Right? We know that they can score the ball. We've seen a whole bunch of high scoring games all the way from week one all the way till right now. The problem has always been their defense and them not being able to stop a nosebleed, right? If you look at those two turnovers in the fourth quarter, I see them do a minor pass to Saquon Barkley. And then it's like sometimes with these running backs, it's like if they catch the ball and try to run it, they look more confused than if they just get a handoff. It's like, nigga, you still got the ball, run that shit. But they throw it to Saquon Barkley, and then he catches it, runs for about 2 yards, they knock it right out of his hands. It's going the other way. They still wasn't even able to score, so it still was a tie game. Shout out to the Eagles defense. They get the ball back on the kick return. This dude tried to do some fucking juke play thinking that it's fucking Madden. He gets another turnover. You give once again the Cowboys better field position. This just to me looked more like a collapse of the Eagles here in the fourth quarter. I didn't leave the game saying that the Cowboys were the better team. Once again, I know what their weapons could do. Shout out to George Pickens, somebody that you named. He's been having a great season, and if I'm the Cowboys, I'm finding any way to keep him. CeeDee Lamb didn't have the best game, but did make some plays here and there, right? We already know their running back situation. He's been having a decent season. Dak Prescott, we heard earlier in the season he was in all these MVP talks. I wouldn't agree with that, but he has put up great numbers. He has shown off the injury. He still can make things happen on the offensive end. You brought up him running it in for the touchdown. It's great to see he still has somewhat of his athleticism. It was great energy, great vibe. Shout out to the Cowboys. I'm not saying that they're scrubs or anything like that, but in terms of just the game yesterday, if I'm watching that fourth quarter, the Eagles literally gave them that game, and if I'm in that locker room and I'm the coach, I'm getting on this whole team because you can't play with your food. All these wins matter, right? When we're all trying to jockey for playoff positioning, and they just let one go, in my opinion. But shout out to the Cowboys for winning the game when it was all said and done.
We have another topic, or
Yeah, so this we got the Chicago Bears, right? Sitting at 8-3 right now. And it kind of feels like they've been going under the radar. I feel like a lot of people was talking about them when Caleb Williams was struggling. Now they're winning, and I'm hearing a lot of the critics quiet. But my question to you is: are the Chicago Bears Super Bowl contenders?
Super Bowl contenders? I wouldn't say just of yet, but they're gonna give teams a run for their money in the playoffs, though. Whether they finish in the well, they are gonna finish in the wild card, I believe so. But they're gonna give a team for a run for their money, though. And I like what I see from the Bears this season. I think all of the us do deserve this team an apology thus far, though, for this turning it around as quickly as they did compared to last year. This is a team that last year that was a little bit more expectations, but it has rose to the occasion. And I think Caleb has just been special. I think Caleb Williams has been special this season too, and I think it's been a little bit overlooked due to all the other superpower teams, though. But every time I watch him this season, he has made a bunch of big plays throughout a whole bunch of games too, and just for him, I just think that he took a next step this year and just being a mobile quarterback out of the pocket too. That's something I noticed. He really could break through a tackle and just maybe pick up a gainage of yardage on his feet or throw a freaking dot to Roma Doomsday or maybe a Swift or a DJ Moore. He has weapons there, and I think that for them, it's just gradually building chemistry. I see even guys like Luther Burden getting a shot. Cole Kmet, somebody that was supposed to be projected to be a solid tight end for them. Dealt with a bunch of injuries, but slowly coming into his own. The Coastal Loveland dude definitely coming into his own. I like it what I see from guys like Kyle Munungai too, taking over Swift duties as a running back one here and there for a couple weeks too. This team right now has a lot going on for themselves too. They should really just be proud of where they are in the season, be 7-2, especially when nobody had them projected to be this high as a team too. So I think that Caleb Williams and just this Bears team in general has been shutting up the naysayers. It's been a struggle for these past couple of years for them, trying to get the right pieces, trying to just make something good out of this team. You had the Justin Fields era. You had the era where they say that they just can't they can't hire the right head coach, the right offensive coordinator, but they're getting it done though. They look special out there a couple of weeks too, especially in the clutch too. Especially when that game gets to that 2 minute warning and Caleb Williams has the ball in his hand. I've seen him made magic this far for the season. So shout out to them. Shout out to the Bears, though. I just don't think that they're just ready just yet, though. I think their team maybe like the Patriots this far, too, to where they're seeing all the success. But, you still got your ways to go around it, though. So shout out to them, though.
Yeah, just hearing you talk about them and they kind of remind me of the Detroit Pistons. and the fact that they've had to learn winning habits, right? When you become a professional, whether it's the NBA, NFL, MLB, whatever sport, you have to learn the proper way how to win. It's not as easy as college, it's not as easy as high school, little league, whatever you want to say. When you get to the pros, those start really from off the court, off the field to on the field, on the court, right? You have to learn how to prepare correctly and make sure, especially as that QB, the starting QB, that your team is ready and prepared. I seen a lot of games last season from the Chicago Bears to where they were in games and they just found a way to lose those games because they just did not have winning habits. Caleb Williams still trying to learn things. And what year is this from Caleb Williams? Is that his second year?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So him being a rookie QB last year with all those expectations, that is a lot of pressure. Shout out to the ones, right? We spoke about Jaden Daniels a lot on this show, who as that rookie QB came in and really just lit the league on fire. That don't always happen. These QBs need to learn how to develop and need to learn how to win. Patrick Mahomes didn't just come in starting for the QB1 for the Chiefs and just was special. He sat on the bench and had to learn. That happened with a lot of greats. Caleb Williams was just thrown into the fire. Chicago was already a dumpster fire. And now it was like, since he's supposed to be the chosen one, he was supposed to save everything by week 5 of last season. That's not what's going to happen 9 times out of 10. You have to learn how to win. And then you have to learn how to react after you lose. I think he's taken everything that's happened to him last season and applied that to this season. Cause really, when you look at it, they didn't start off the season this season that great either. They was winning one, losing one, winning one, losing one, and I think it just came to the point to where he had to ask, right. And I think it came right when they had to play Dallas. I forgot which week that was, maybe like within like the first 6 weeks. And that was a game to where if he had lost that one, I think a lot of people might have been writing him off. But him being able to beat that Cowboys team and have a great game, ever since then, him just keep trying to develop, just invest into his teammates, putting that belief in them that we are a competent football team. They look good right now. To the question, are they gonna win the Super Bowl? No, but are they gonna be dangerous if they were to secure a playoff spot? I think they could give a lot of teams just some real tough, just a tough matchup overall. But shout out to the coach. I'm forgetting his name, but shout out to Caleb Williams, and just shout out to the whole team for believing that we don't have to stay in mediocrity and just having good winning habits. I love what I see watching their post games of them in the locker room. All good vibes, and the Bears. The Bears are doing something, man, in Chicago. Shout out to all the Chicago teams because I feel like they're all in a great space right now. But shout out to Caleb Williams.
Facts.
But tonight we just have a Monday night matchup, the 49ers and the Panthers, I believe. Just quick, who wins?
Um, I believe the 49ers in a close one though. I like what I've seen from the Panthers thus far this season. Look like a resilient team, a young team that's still trying to, get their feet in the door. Really find out who they are though, but they're winning games in the process though. Bryce Young is just, somebody that's real, I wouldn't say hit or miss, but for the most part, I say 70% hit right now, 30% miss though. I'm good. That projection might change as maybe the years go along, though. Maybe for upside or downside, though. But I like what I've seen from Bryce Young this season, though. I think he's more comfortable in his role as a quarterback. I think he knows who he is. We're getting flashes of what I've seen from him in Alabama. I think that he could be a star quarterback in this league, though. I just think that he just got to keep building up on his own confidence. Relatively a small quarterback, though, but he's gonna find his ways throughout. Just making good reads, and just getting out of the pocket in time too. So I like what I've seen this far from him. I love the core of just him, the Tedro McMillan, and even Xavier Leggett too. I think Xavier Leggett is somebody that's finding himself on his own, a good wide receiver too. Jalen Crocker is back too, has been ramping up his touches a little bit more. For the running back side, you found a hidden gem in Rico Dowdle, and it comes at the expense of making Chuba Hubbard running back too. But for the most part, Rico Dowdle has been explosive. You could put him in slot receiving, and he's just more versatile for this offense too as well. And I just look at this team, and I just think that okay, they're slowly figuring themselves out. This is another young team, like we said, with just the sorry, the Chicago Bears too as well, to where now they just trying to figure themselves out too. And this young core is slowly getting better as we watch them week by week. I think, like I said, for me, the turning point in their season was in the beginning of the season against the Cardinals, where they could have just called it a quits because they were down, like I believe, like what, 2 touchdowns or so. They was getting blown out though, but they found a way to make an interesting game. And I think ever since then, they just slowly been just ramping it up. For the most part, I think that for this Panthers team, is just continue to play like, you feel me, every game's like a playoff game, and I think that's what I've seen from them too. They're a very exciting football team, but I just think that the 49ers are just a team right now that they're going to be hitting on all cylinders. They just got Brock Purdy back last game. They got George Kittle back. Christian McCaffrey has been a star for them for the most part throughout this whole season. Somebody that's been very relied upon. Riku Parcel is back too as well too. So this is the point in time now where the 49ers are trying to make their season push. So whoever's in their way, though, expect them to get expect to feel me, expect to get your ass kicked, or just have a 49ers team that is angry and that's going to come out with an agenda. This is a team that last week they just handled the Cardinals. They're not even going to play around with their food, and I think they're going to come out with the same energy. Christian McCaffrey, somebody that if you want to say, he's been neck and neck for offensive player of the year with Jonathan Taylor for the most part, though. It don't matter where you had Christian McCaffrey, whether if it's in the receiving slot or whether if it's running the ball. He's damn near done it all. He's been a Swiss Army knife for them too as well. George Kittle, somebody that could go off on any given night too. Brian Robinson has been a solid running back too for them too, giving McCaffrey a little bit of leeway to sit out a couple of plays too as well. I'm looking at this team right now, and I think that they're just gonna hit this stride from this point out of the season, though. So, as much as feel me, I'm gonna say that the Panthers might have a chance to win it. I just think that the 49ers is definitely gonna come out with a point of emphasis, especially this being Christian McCaffrey's old team too. So you always want that one up.
Long story short, 24-21 49ers. We out of here, babe.
And this